Deere and Company is responding to former President Donald Trump's threat to put a 200% tariff on products the company tries to sell into the U.S. Trump made the comment during a campaign stop in Pennsylvania on Monday.
A lot of their manufacturing business to Mexico. I'm just notifying John Deere right now. If you do that, we're putting a 200% tariff on everything.
It was supposed to be Donald Trump's crowning moment, a show of triumph as he declared that America's greatest corporations would return manufacturing jobs to U.S. soil. But when the dust settled, Trump found himself blindsided, not by foreign competitors, but by two of America's most iconic brands, Ford and John Deere. What started as a fierce campaign to revive American industry quickly devolved into an economic disaster that no one saw coming. This moment wasn't just about politics. It was about power, truth, and who's really in charge.
I don't call it Liberation Day for Americans. I call it Termination Day because there are people going to be laid off. Assembly lines will shut down. You can't just cut off your largest customer in the world.
So what exactly did they say that pushed Trump over the edge? Stay with us as we reveal the hidden truth about what really happened. Trump's controversial announcement. President Donald Trump recently stirred significant controversy during a rally held in Des Moines, Iowa, where he announced sweeping tariff proposals targeting major American manufacturers. Speaking before a packed audience, Trump singled out specific companies and threatened them with a range of punitive measures, which includes calls for public boycotts, the cancellation of federal contracts, and the imposition of extraordinarily high tariffs. Now, the question is, what could have led to this unexpected attack, and how did the companies react to it? Before we dive deeper, let's take a quick look at previous attacks by President Trump on companies in the U.S. Stick around until the end, as we reveal some unbelievable truths that will blow your mind. According to reports, even before entering the White House, Donald Trump had begun targeting individual companies during his campaign. In February 2016, he urged a boycott of Apple for refusing to help the FBI unlock the iPhone of a San Bernardino shooter, though Apple did not comply, and the FBI eventually accessed the phone independently. Observers also noted that Trump frequently criticized Amazon, with one 2018 remark accusing the company of scamming the U.S. Postal Service, reportedly causing market ripples. He also targeted Boeing over the cost of Air Force One, pressured General Motors over its production plans, and publicly criticized Nordstrom for dropping his daughter Ivanka's brand. Trump's clashes extended to pharmaceutical giant Merck after its CEO resigned from a presidential council in response to Trump's remarks about the Charlottesville rally. More recently, reports highlighted that Meta Platforms experienced a significant decline in market value in March after President Donald Trump, during an appearance on CNBC, labeled Facebook an enemy of the people. Analysts noted that Trump's remark caused immediate concern among investors, with some attributing the market drop to fears about potential regulatory pressure or public backlash. The comment was seen as part of his continued hostility toward tech companies he perceives as politically biased against him. In addition, reports recalled that as recently as late the previous year, Trump had threatened to prosecute Google, alleging that the company deliberately promoted negative news stories about him through its search algorithms. While legal experts largely dismissed the likelihood of such prosecution succeeding, they acknowledged that the rhetoric alone could create instability and uncertainty for the targeted companies. Now, let's take a look at Trump's recent attacks on two of America's biggest manufacturers. Brace up for the most shocking revelation that is about to unfold. Trump's public attack on Ford, John Deere, and economic implications. President Donald Trump revealed he would impose a 200% tariff on all John Deere products manufactured overseas and a 25% tariff on all Ford vehicles and auto parts imported into the United States.
Saying all that, I had a conversation last week with Secretary Lutnick and just told him how we feel. And it's going to hurt Americans. It's going to hurt American jobs. It's going to hurt investments. We've seen the market tumble.
According to reports, Trump stated that if these companies wanted to continue selling to American workers, they would need to manufacture their products within the country or face the associated penalties. His remarks were interpreted as part of his broader push to encourage domestic production and reduce reliance on foreign manufacturing. Reports indicate that the tariffs imposed by President Trump had an immediate and severe impact. Analysts predicted that Ford vehicle prices could rise by an average of $10,000, while John Deere's machinery prices were expected to increase by 20 to 30%, making essential farming equipment unaffordable for many American farmers. In response, the stock market took a hit as Ford's stock reportedly dropped, and John Deere saw a loss of more than $10 billion in market value within just 1 week. However, the consequences extended beyond the stock market. The real effects were reportedly felt on the factory floors and farm fields in the heart of America, where many of Trump's supporters were left grappling with the unintended results of his policies. Factory workers in Michigan and Ohio, who had once rallied behind Trump's promise to protect jobs, now faced uncertainty as the disruptions to supply chains started affecting their work. Meanwhile, farmers who had invested in John Deere machinery for generations found themselves facing rising costs that could threaten the viability of their operations. According to reports, President Trump called for a boycott of John Deere and urged his supporters to stop purchasing the company's products. The call quickly spread throughout rural America, sparking widespread reactions in small towns and farming communities. Observers noted that online forums, local radio programs, and town hall meetings were soon consumed with heated debates, as Trump's message appeared to have ignited more than just a political protest. It had turned into a powerful economic statement. As coverage of the boycott continued, journalists highlighted its growing impact on everyday life. Dealerships specializing in John Deere machinery reportedly saw a steep drop in sales, while local repair shops that depended on servicing Deere equipment experienced a sharp decline in business. Farmers who had long relied on John Deere tractors and harvesters were said to be exploring alternatives such as Case IH, Kubota, and New Holland, brands that, ironically, also had foreign ownership ties. What had begun as a campaign slogan had evolved into a deeply personal dilemma for those working in agriculture and manufacturing, many of whom found themselves caught between political support and economic survival. Meanwhile, financial analysts pointed out that the turmoil extended far beyond rural areas. On Wall Street, markets reacted swiftly to Trump's tariff announcement. Reports showed that John Deere's stock plummeted by 22% in just a few days, with Ford's shares also taking a substantial hit. Hedge funds were said to be offloading shares at a rapid pace. Mutual fund managers reportedly received panicked calls from clients, and several analysts issued warnings that the tariffs could threaten the stability of the entire manufacturing sector. According to market experts, the issue was no longer one of political ideology, but one of financial risk. Trump's economic actions reportedly shook the confidence of investors and sent shockwaves through the core of American capitalism. Meanwhile, reports have it that Ford and John Deere have reacted to the announcement in one of the most unexpected fashion. What was their reaction to the sudden attack? Hold on, this is where it gets interesting. Ford and John Deere's response. Ford Motor Company CEO Jim Farley reportedly attempted to get the attention of the White House by appearing on Fox News, where he took a cautiously optimistic stance on the auto tariffs recently imposed by former President Donald Trump. Despite warning earlier in the year that tariffs could blow a hole in the auto industry, Farley told host Laura Ingraham that Ford was looking at the situation as a potential opportunity. The interview aired just 1 day after Ford launched a marketing campaign offering U.S. buyers employee pricing on most of its vehicles. In the segment, Farley reportedly emphasized that if the tariffs were focused on establishing fair trade with global competitors, that could ultimately benefit the U.S. industry. Still, he acknowledged concerns about tariffs on imported auto parts, thousands of which are used in Ford vehicles built in the U.S. Farley said that finding a workable balance would require close collaboration with Washington, emphasizing that the details matter greatly. He noted that some components, such as wiring looms essential to a car's electrical systems, are specialized parts that often cannot be sourced domestically. He reportedly expressed cautious optimism that the administration might exempt certain parts from the 25% tariff, potentially allowing automakers to maintain affordability while still adding jobs in the U.S. According to Ford spokesperson Mark Truby, Farley's appearance on the widely watched program was part of a broader effort to communicate Ford's position on trade and to highlight the company's U.S. manufacturing strength. Truby added that other senior Ford executives were also speaking to various media outlets that day to reinforce their message and promote Ford's From America, for America campaign. According to sources familiar with the matter, Ford executives remain in direct talks with the Trump administration over the specifics of the tariff rules. Some components may still qualify for exemption under the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement, but as of now, the list of exempt parts remains unclear. Trump's 25% auto parts tariff is scheduled to take effect no later than May 3rd, as outlined in the president's official proclamation. John Deere, on the other hand, has reportedly been paying close attention to the unfolding controversy. In an effort to reassure American consumers and counter rumors of a mass relocation of its production facilities overseas, the company released a public statement on social media. In a video posted to YouTube, company executives outlined Deere's continued commitment to U.S. manufacturing. Fabio Castro, vice president and factory manager at the company's Waterloo Works, was quoted as saying that John Deere had invested more than $2.5 billion in its U.S.-based factories over the past 5 years. He added that the company currently employs over 30,000 people across more than 60 locations in 16 states. According to Castro, those investments have funded significant production upgrades, including a new assembly line for the high-horsepower 9RX tractor in Waterloo, Iowa, a See and Spray sprayer line in Des Moines, and the X9 combine line in East Moline, Illinois. Tommy Hedgren, vice president and manufacturing lead for the U.S. and Mexico within Deere's agriculture and turf division, reportedly addressed the broader economic context behind recent decisions to cut production costs. She explained that lower commodity prices and rising interest rates in 2025 had caused many customers to postpone purchasing new equipment, a trend affecting not just Deere, but the entire agricultural industry. Hedgren was quoted as saying that the company had been forced to make some really difficult economic decisions in response to these market conditions. She emphasized that the downturn in demand was industry-wide, not isolated to John Deere. In a separate announcement made in late October, Deere confirmed plans to expand its agricultural and turf training center in Florida. The facility, which provides technical training and support for dealers across the U.S. and Canada, is expected to complete its expansion by spring 2025. While companies were trying to come to terms with Trump's latest announcement, there were also reported reactions from the public regarding the tariffs. Stick around to the end for a surprise twist. Public reactions. Amid the escalating tensions between Donald Trump and American manufacturers, prominent voices from academia, business, and government have raised serious concerns about the consequences of Trump's proposed 200% tariff on John Deere. Bill George, a former Medtronic CEO and now an executive fellow at Harvard University, reportedly warned that such a steep tariff would end up hurting the very people Trump claims to support. He emphasized that the additional costs would inevitably be passed down to American farmers. Referring to Deere as an American treasure, George cautioned that tariffs like these would weaken, not strengthen, U.S. companies. Christine McDaniel, who served as a senior trade official under President George W. Bush, echoed those concerns. Speaking to CNN, she explained that if Deere were to halt its production shift to Mexico in response to Trump's threat, the company would become less competitive in the global market. McDaniel, currently a senior research fellow at George Mason University's Mercatus Center, added that such a move would likely reduce sales, revenues, and future job opportunities at Deere. Billionaire entrepreneur Mark Cuban also weighed in. He called Trump's tariff proposal insane. In an interview with Fox News, Cuban argued that such a policy would only benefit Deere's foreign competitors, especially those from China, by making it easier for them to undercut the U.S. brand. Meanwhile, the Wall Street Journal's editorial board issued a sharp rebuke of Trump's stance. In an opinion piece titled, "A Deer in Trump's Political Headlights," the journal suggested that the tariff threat was so economically counterproductive that it could push some American companies to see Kamala Harris as a more business-friendly option. The board criticized Trump for failing to understand that American manufacturers must compete globally and operate under the rules of free trade agreements like the USMCA. Legal experts further warned that the proposed tariff would likely violate the USMCA, the very trade deal Trump once touted as a major achievement after replacing NAFTA. McDaniel explained that under the agreement, the U.S. committed to a zero-tariff schedule on agricultural equipment, which includes Deere's primary product line. While there might be a legal path through Section 232, which allows tariffs on the basis of national security, such a move would be controversial and difficult to justify. Mary Lovely, a senior fellow at the Peterson Institute for International Economics, expressed concern over the precedent being set. She warned that targeting individual companies with tariff threats would effectively amount to government control over private capital decisions, something fundamentally at odds with the principles of American capitalism. George, reinforcing his earlier point, urged corporate leaders to remain steadfast. He advised CEOs not to be intimidated by political threats and to continue making decisions based on what's best for their companies, not short-term political pressures. Ford's new game-changer engine. Ford has shocked the entire automotive industry with an engine unlike anything we've ever seen. Ford has led the way in vehicle innovation for almost 100 years, but this latest move is different. It's an engine that combines performance, efficiency, and sustainability. The Ford EcoBoost engine series combines power and fuel economy in a way that no rival has matched in the industry. Let's briefly talk about engine power to fully understand why we're making so much muse about the new Ford engine.
I'd like to introduce you to our new 1-litre EcoBoost engine, which we're launching at the moment in the Ford Focus.
Most engine designers build larger engines to produce more horsepower, but Ford engineers took another approach that shocked everyone. Instead of relying on massive engines to produce more horsepower, they designed turbocharging and direct fuel injection. So how exactly does it work? These two technologies work together to maximize performance from smaller, more efficient engines. Turbocharging acts like a power booster. It forces extra air into the combustion chamber and generates more power without increasing engine size. Direct fuel injection ensures that every drop of fuel is used efficiently. This doesn't just cut down waste, but it also improves mileage. For those doubting the concept, the new engine is already on the road. The EcoBoost comes in stages. Ford designed the compact 1.0-liter turbocharged 3-cylinder for small cars. For larger vehicles, they made the 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6. The good news is that this V6 engine delivers V8-like power with better fuel efficiency, and it is perfect for trucks and sports utility vehicles. This combination of power and economy shows that Ford's engineers have figured out how to do more with less, but Ford is not stopping there. The company has released a hybrid version called the F-150 Hybrid. This version was designed for trucks. Strong and durable trucks are also notorious for fuel consumption. That is where the Ford Hybrid F-150 comes in. This beast combines traditional combustion power with electric efficiency. About a quarter of all new F-150s sold today are hybrids, which shows how quickly people embrace this new technology. But that is not all. Another impressive feature of this engine is its ability to act as a mobile power station. Whether you need to charge tools on a construction site or power a campsite in the middle of nowhere, the onboard generator of the truck has you covered. According to industry sources, it is now one of Ford's most popular innovations. Ford has a more extreme version for those who love pure power, the Predator 5.8. It was introduced in the 2020 Mustang Shelby GT 500. This 5.2-liter supercharged engine produces a jaw-dropping 760 horsepower. It also has advanced technology like dual overhead camshafts and variable timing to maximize speed and efficiency. According to Ford, each engine is assembled by hand at their Romeo plant in Michigan for precision and absolute craftsmanship. If you are wondering what international competitors like China's BYD and CATL have been up to, it seems they are not impressed by Ford's strategy. The two leading Chinese brands have focused on cutting-edge electric motors and blade battery technology. For instance, BYD's latest EV engines provide ultra-high efficiency, instant torque, and zero emissions. They also focus on sodium-ion batteries and integrated drive units for more extended range and faster charging, something Ford's lithium batteries may struggle to match. Ford plans to build hydrogen-powered versions of this engine. Electric engines powered by lithium have gained rapid acceptance in the automobile world, but the truth is that hydrogen will provide a cleaner alternative. Research has shown that hydrogen-powered combustion engines could provide the best of both worlds: zero emissions without the limitations of battery range and charging infrastructure. This technology is still in development, but let's talk about the mind-blowing impacts it will have on the industry. Ford's next step in engine technology. While other automakers debate the best way forward, Ford invests heavily in electric vehicles while developing hydrogen-powered engines. Governments worldwide are updating emission regulations, and consumers are demanding cleaner alternatives. The company is making its most significant shift. While electric vehicles are a key part of the global transition, Ford engineers believe we must look beyond batteries to hydrogen combustion. Instead of relying on external fuel cells, Ford's hydrogen engine will inject hydrogen directly into the combustion chamber. Engineers believe that this process will improve efficiency and eliminate carbon emissions. It will also allow the engine to maintain the power of traditional combustion while producing nothing but water vapor as a byproduct. Suppose you are wondering why this is a better alternative to lithium-powered engines, unlike electric cars, which depend on lithium-ion batteries and extensive charging infrastructure. In that case, hydrogen engines can be refueled as quickly as gasoline-powered vehicles. Ford's hydrogen engine could power everything from compact cars to full-size trucks if successfully developed and scaled. It is a better alternative to lithium that combines sustainability with performance. Hydrogen also overcomes some of the biggest challenges facing electric vehicles, such as battery degradation, long charging times, and the environmental impact of rare mineral extraction. For instance, exhaust gas recirculation technology will reduce combustion temperatures and improve efficiency. Ford is positioning hydrogen as a real contender for cleaner energy. This doesn't mean Ford has given up on its lithium-powered engines. According to the CEO, the company is pouring over $50 billion into electric vehicle production, making it one of the most prominent players in vehicle electrification. And why invest so much in vehicle electrification? Instead of simply selling cars, Ford is developing an ecosystem that includes battery production, charging networks, and long-term sustainability initiatives. Ford's plan is not just to conquer the American market. What they are doing in the Chinese market will leave you speechless. China is the world's largest EV market, and Ford plans to beat their domestic giants like BYD and NIO. To stay ahead, Ford is focusing on lithium iron phosphate batteries. Experts believe they are a more affordable and durable alternative to conventional lithium-ion cells.
For me, this thing is fantastic. I got a fantastic battery. I saw a cheap battery and I bought it, but it does make me curious to see what else they're making.
Ford also plans to partner with local suppliers and leverage China's advanced battery technology. Meanwhile, in Europe, the company is responding to strict government policies that will phase out gasoline and diesel vehicles by 2030. Ford's strategy here is to launch electric vans and trucks that meet the needs of businesses and fleet operators, ensuring that commercial buyers have access to reliable, emissions-free work vehicles. The first models will be based on their lithium-powered engines, while future models will switch to hydrogen. Back in the United States, Ford is taking a different approach. Ford understands that American drivers have long preferred trucks and SUVs, so the company launched full-scale production of the F-150 Lightning as the future of its lineup.
And then there's the Hummer EV, which is a 9,000-pound idiot. We love it as well, but it's really expensive and massive. And then there's the Cybertruck, which only exists in your dreams. They all answer a question that no one was really asking. It doesn't need to be a spaceship. The F-150 Lightning is the first simple, down-to-earth EV truck for everyone.
Surprisingly, the response has been staggering. Within a week of launch, Ford received over 70,000 reservations for the electric pickup, with most buyers choosing the highest trim level and extended range battery. This overwhelming demand shows that consumer preferences have shifted. Electric vehicles are no longer just for urban commuters. They are becoming serious contenders in the full-size truck market. Ford has also been producing batteries for the American market domestically. This has strengthened the company's position, reduced production costs, improved supply chain security, and made the vehicles eligible for federal government incentives. But building electric cars is only half the battle. Ford is also investing in the infrastructure needed to support widespread EV adoption. At the heart of this effort is the Blue Oval City. The Oval City is a massive manufacturing complex in Tennessee designed to produce EVs and batteries at an unprecedented scale. This $5.6 billion project will create thousands of jobs while accelerating the transition to a fully electric future.
Behind me here is a cell plant, and that can join with a pack plant will total 2 million square feet. Now, the facility will be used to create batteries for electric vehicles, and Ford still believes this is the future of the automotive industry.
Besides the factory, Ford is expanding its charging network through partnerships with energy companies. This will ensure that customers have reliable access to charging stations wherever they go. Ford also recognizes that convenience is a major barrier to EV adoption, so the company is rolling out advanced home charging solutions, allowing owners to charge their vehicles overnight quickly. There are still many unknowns, but one sure thing is that Ford's approach to the future doesn't rely on a single technology. While many automakers are going all in on EVs, Ford keeps its options open, investing in hydrogen, electric, and hybrid technologies simultaneously. But let's talk about why this will not be as easy as it seems. Are hydrogen and electric engines the future? You see, gasoline engines have ruled the roads for over 100 years. The deep rumble of a V8, the raw power of a turbocharged engine, and electric engines are taking over today, but gasoline will not give way easily. The question is no longer whether the shift will happen, but how quickly and at what cost. One of the key factors in this transition is performance. How fast, how powerful, and how thrilling an engine can run. For instance, Ford's Predator V8 engine delivers an impressive 760 horsepower. It is loud, aggressive, and undeniably fast. People who prefer performance believe that electric vehicles cannot replace the feeling of a combustion engine. Truth be told, the instant torque of an EV may be impressive, but it lacks the raw character of a finely tuned V8. But forgetting the loyalty to traditional power, the industry moves in a different direction. But the F-150 Lightning proves that power and sustainability can work together. With 563 horsepower, it outperforms many gasoline trucks while producing zero emissions. Ford's decision to invest billions in electrification is a clear signal that, while combustion engines still have a place, they are no longer the future. But the problem is that electric vehicles also have limitations. For instance, charging infrastructure is limited in many regions, and battery production is costly. Talk less about range anxiety, which is still a common issue for many EV drivers. This is where hydrogen-powered combustion engines come in. Unlike electric vehicles, which require massive batteries, hydrogen engines burn fuel like traditional gasoline engines, but with zero carbon emissions. Engineers believe that hydrogen fuel cells can provide the convenience of gasoline with the environmental benefits of electric power, but large-scale adoption will not be easy. As these technologies evolve, the entire automotive industry is forced to adapt. Car manufacturers must decide where to place their bets, whether to double down on electric vehicles, invest in hydrogen, or continue refining internal combustion engines to meet environmental regulations. That is not all. Oil companies are now facing the reality of falling demand for gasoline. Gas stations may need to transform into charging hubs or hydrogen refueling centers. Auto repair shops must prepare for a shift away from combustion engine maintenance. Remember that electric motors have fewer moving parts and significantly less servicing. Governments are improving emissions regulations, pushing manufacturers toward cleaner alternatives, investing in charging infrastructure, and encouraging consumers to switch. The result is an industry where every player tries to anticipate the next breakthrough before it is too late. Looking at Ford's current strategy, it is clear that they are facing this uncertainty. The company is not abandoning gasoline engines entirely. If hydrogen gains traction, Ford is prepared. If battery technology improves dramatically, Ford is already ahead of the curve. The question is whether the industry can adapt fast enough, or if the transition will leave some companies struggling to keep up. Thank you for staying with us. What are your thoughts on Trump's recent attack on Ford and John Deere, and how could it possibly impact the whole of the US's manufacturing companies? Do share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click on the following video showing.